over the years gardening, you start to notice things and learn from them, passively at first, but then when that light bulb moment hits, you take a closer look and you want to investigate and find out what's going on. Now, it might be something as simple as noticing, as I've talked about in a previous video, that carrots grown closely with alliums will protect each other or afford them some protection. And then you start looking up those things to find out what it is, and in my case that was libraries back in the day. Now you can just browse on the internet or look in a magazine or a book. But yeah, you learn from these things, you find out that's companion planted, and you start to take advantage of that. Then you'll start to add in one or two new flowers, maybe another herb or two and a couple of other flowers, because you've heard that's good. And before you know where you are, you've moved on from growing vegetables and you're now growing flowers, and you want to learn more. And again, you're back to the library or to the internet to find out more. I mean, it could just be that a family member has asked you to grow a few flowers for a certain event that's coming up in the next year, or that they want a couple of their favourite flowers for their birthday, or even just a couple of dahlias to go on somebody's grave to mark that very sad occasion as well. So before you know where you are growing all kinds of things on your allotments. And I think, to be honest, that's what allotment life is all about. Now, there are many standards for an allotment. I mean, there's gladiolus, sweet peas, dahlias, a few simple flowers like cornflowers. Those sort of things are allotment staples, but I've moved on a stage further than that, and a lot of people do, and that's brilliant. So over the coming months, I'm going to be detailing what I grow on my allotments. I've only been growing flowers, especially for cut flowers, for just a bit less than a decade. I can grow and fill a cut flower garden, but I'm no expert by any means. I still fail miserably every year with one or two varieties, and learn from it and enjoy it as well. But I'm now at the point, I'm hoping, where I can succession sow and grow plants. And I think I did a little bit of it last year. This year I'm going to increase it, and so on and so forth as the knowledge grows. So there we go, that's what I'm doing. And today I'm going to be showing you February seeds, and in much the same format that I did with the vegetable seeds. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some comparisons and just do a sum up of the two videos. So there we go. Right, so there are a couple of plants that you can start sowing now to give you a head start on the season. And the idea is with this that you're spreading all your sowing out into a few months, as opposed to just wait until March or April and just sowing everything and just be surrounded by a forest of seedlings. You will be anyway, but better to lessen it. So anyway, too late for you now, but these are cornflowers. I sowed these last September, I think, and you can see they were on the path here, and they've grown into the path. They're getting away that well. But you can sow cornflowers now, just a small pinch in a bit of compost, and they'll get away fine. Pot them on. It's the same with these. These are Antirrhinums, or otherwise known as Snapdragons. I did those in the autumn as well, and now is the perfect time to sow those. So you can actually sow those directly into module trays, and I will be sowing some more, so I've got a continuation of the flowers. These will flower first, obviously, and then by the time these are finished, the others will have caught up, the spring sown ones, and they will flower. But just a module tray full of compost and 2 or 3 seeds in each cell, and just delete the ones that you don't want, get rid of those. So that's another one, and I've got a few more plants which I'll show you a bit later as well. So those you can get on with. So Snapdragons are a definite for getting going. So Snapdragons are definitely one you want to be getting on with and sowing now in February, and I will be covering that. I will do a sowing video for them, as I will be for these. These are my sweet peas, and this is the Chelsea collection from Eagle Sweet Peas. Very well recommended them, and the super massive flowers, lovely frilly edges, sort of a pickety edge, and the scent is just absolutely stunning. Now, confession to make, I autumn sowed my sweet peas as normal, and I didn't really keep an eye on them as much as I should. What happened was, normally I clean my greenhouse in August, and I didn't actually get round to cleaning it until actually just inside January this year. Consequently, we've had slugs that have overwintered in the greenhouse, and they've eaten a few of my plants. They've cleaned out most of my Orlea grandiflora. They've cleaned out all my wild carrots, which I grow for flowers, and all of my sweet peas, all of them, the whole lot gone. So I'm having to sow again, so I'll be going through that. Slightly different method for the spring sowing for now, but I'll be covering that in this next week, sowing sweet peas. Still plenty of time, so it's no big deal. I just like the bigger plants, and I'll cover all the information about that. I know some of you sowed in autumn and you're sat at home wondering about pinching out and this sort of thing. I'll cover all that in the video that's upcoming about sweet peas. Also, you can sow now. You can sow your sort of rudbeckias as well. They can get them going. So those three are definitely ones to get going now. Now, I'm also doing a little bit of dice rolling as well at this time of the year, because I'm trying to spread the harvest. These are just some of the flower varieties I'm growing this year, and I've got a couple here. One of these I mentioned on Niall's garden. He did a flower video just a few days ago, and in the comments I recommended that for underneath his apple trees it'd be a really good idea to sow a foxglove, a white one, and this is Foxglove Alba. It's a white one. It's just really good for those shady areas at this time of the year, simply because foxgloves grow best in a shady area, and those dark corners, because it's white, it sort of shines out like a beacon, and that's a stunning one. So I'll be growing some of them. They may flower this year. If not, they'll flower next year. And another one I'm going to start is this one called Shasta Daisy. It's a chrysanthemum, a little bit early, but I'm just going to sow. You can see how many seeds I've got in there. Tons, 750. Just a couple of pinches in a pot or a tray, just to see if I can get them going. And I've got another couple here. I'll leave that one till last. This one is Cobea, and this is the cup and saucer plant. It's a climbing plant, grows up to about 3 meters. Slightly early, but I should get away with that one hopefully. And that's wicked for growing up trellises and fences, that one. Virginia stock, and again there's 4,500 seeds in that, so I'm going to try them early. Really could do with waiting another couple of weeks, but I'll be sowing this sometime in February, so it should work out. This last one of this bunch is Delphinium, but it's the annual Delphinium Larkspur. Now, I did have some of those. I sown some of these last autumn, and they were growing away in the greenhouse, and it's another one that was eaten by the resident slugs in there. And what you're meant to do with these is to cold stratify them. You put them in the freezer for about a week or two, and then sow them. Now, I'm going to have to check, because I've never sown them in spring before. I don't think you have to cold stratify them at this time of the year, but I will check on that, and I'll get some of those growing, because they're brilliant in a cut flower arrangement. And then for the sort of companion planting, I've got a few plants here. Those of you who have been with me for a while will recognise when I grow my tomatoes, I always have flowers at the base, and they are Tagetes. They're a very small flower, about so big, probably ½ an inch, a centimetre and a half size flower, and they're basically a marigold. And I've got 3 types here. I've got a lemon gem, a red gem, and orange gem. These are all from Premier Seeds Direct, by the way. So I'm going to sow some of those. Again, there's plenty of seeds in there. I will probably have to make 2 sowings of these, but I will get some going now. And then proper marigolds. These are proper bedding marigolds. Again, a couple of pinches of each of those, get some going early, to see if we can get some early flowers, and it will just help spread the harvest. If they don't work, then I'll just do them again. Also, I'm going to add to that mix is Cosmos as well, and that's very early for Cosmos. A lot of the time it works. Last year, unfortunately for me, it didn't. So I was growing the plants, and they were a good size. We had a cold snap, lost a lot. Did another sowing, still had the flowers in time. But again, I like to get them going early, then they're away from the greenhouse at home, down here in the polytunnel and ready to go. And it's one less thing to sow if I don't need to, when everything gets busier in sort of March and April. So that's about it really, but I want to show you some of these plants as well, so we'll go and have a look at those now. Right, hello. Can you see me through all this? These are Ami majors. I'll put a little picture up here of what they look like when they're flowering. Grow on great big long stems, and I grow this simply because it looks good in a vase, and I'll make what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but I'll put a lot of this in a vase, and then I will just poke in the occasional flowers, maybe a rose or a ranunculus or something, and just dress that up because it looks nice on its own. But I sowed this at the same time as I sowed my sweet peas last year, the same time as I sowed the Antirrhinums and the cornflowers, and I potted them on, and then just before Christmas I potted them on again. So they've been in these things for about a month. If you look underneath, and you can see the roots growing out of them, even in this cold weather, even through winter, plants are growing if you just grow the right ones. And this is vital, because I've got all these plants. I've got the snaps, the cornflowers, I would have sweet peas and orlea and Dorcas, which is the carrot. I've got ranunculus down here, sweet rocket, Ami, and I've got some Brisa maxima up there, which is a grass. That's 7 or 8 flowers that I've already grown for this year that I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about sowing those in spring. So you could quite easily have 10 or 20 varieties of plants growing all the way through winter, despite the cold, despite the low light levels. If you just sow at the right time and grow them on, you don't want to sow too early because you don't want them to flower before you go into winter. But these carry on growing, and those roots to the bottom of those plants are evidence of that. I say these were only potted on, and they were small module plants about this big when I put them into this just before Christmas, around that time. And the same with these up here. These are sweet rocket, and they're the same. They're all just desperate. I could pot these on again, but I won't, because I'm going to harden these off now. But do bear that in mind, that, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you can't grow anything through winter. Yes, you can. This tunnel is evidence of that. These plants are evidence of that. And I'm in a cold part of the country. I'm in Cumbria here, the very top of the northwest of England. I can sling a stone that way and it might land in Scotland. We are that far north. So you can grow over winter and you can get a start on your year. Next year, there'll be even more of these plants going in time, and hopefully I will protect them better, look after them better. What tends to happen is the gardening eases off, and that's what happened to me. And I've just cleaning the greenhouse kept getting put back to the next day and then the next day, and it didn't happen. And the slugs ate everything, and it's, you know, it's one of those things. That's gardening. We all make mistakes and we learn from them. But there you go. There's good solid evidence that you can grow through winter, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a brilliant thing. So as a final act and as an end to this video, this is all the veg seed that I mentioned in my veg sowing video 2 or 3 days ago. All of those. These are all the flower seeds I've just gone through, and these are all the herb seeds that I need to go through to add to them for just this month. So you can see there's probably, I know there's about 22 there, and there's about, must be 15 or so there. There'll be half a dozen from there, and there's other plants I mentioned on there, such as the cosmos and things, that are coming from a friend of mine who's coming later this week. He's bought some seeds and we're sharing them. I've probably got 40, if not 50 varieties of things to sow in this next month. So what I need to do now is go home, organise myself, figure how I'm sowing them, where they're going to be germinated, whether in a propagator or on my bench propagator or just in a pot in here. Work it all out and work out what part of the month I need to sow them in, and then just crack on with it. But doing it this way, it's a little bit more organised and a little bit more user friendly for me, and it spreads the load. It'd be 40 or 50 varieties less for me to sow next month or the month after, so it's spreading that out, and I can quite easily handle that. So there we go, that's the flowers and the sum up of the 2 videos in this new format for me. And as I say, I'll be back in a few days with a seed sowing video for the sweet peas, and then as the month progresses you'll see me sow all of these things that I'm sowing, how I sow them and how I save space doing it, and how I get things moving on and get planning ready for the next month. So I hope you enjoyed both of these 2 videos together. If you are just a veg grower, grow a few flowers, you'll love it. And hope you all stay safe and well, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ra now.